Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to this fourth Sunday after Easter as we experience the Godly Play Sunday School lesson. Today, our story is about Abraham and Sarah. It's also the story that we will be hearing in worship today. We'll hear it read from the Bible, and Danny will preach a sermon on it, and it's also part of the children's bulletin that you'll see. Let's get started. Welcome to this special place to be with God and to hear the stories of God. Let us worship God together. The Lord be with you and also with you. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." Enjoy the light. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It is right to give God our thanks and our praise. Enjoy this time of singing and hopefully using the motions for the song Father Abraham.
Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, left on. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, left on, right foot. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, right foot, left foot. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, right foot, chin up. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, right foot, chin up, turn around. Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's just praise the Lord. Right on, right foot, chin up, turn around, sit down.
Lift up your hearts. We lift them up to the Lord. Today, for our prayers of thanksgiving, I'd like to invite you as a family to take some time to thank God for all of the teachers and nurses in your life. This is actually Teacher and Nurse Appreciation Week, and many of you probably know teachers and nurses. Maybe some are in your family or your neighborhood or here in our church. So take time today as a family to write down or maybe even write a note or give a phone call to those teachers and nurses in your life that are making a difference, not only now during this time, but every day. Thank God for the teachers and nurses in your life. Amen. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. This is the desert box. Inside is a small piece of the desert. So many important things happened in the desert. We just have a small piece of it here in our Bible story space. The desert is a strange and sometimes a wild place. At night, it's very cold, and during the day, it can be very, very hot. The desert is always changing. The wind comes, and as it blows over the desert, it shapes and molds, so the desert is never the same. Once, a man named Abraham and his wife Sarah lived in the beautiful city of Haran. Abraham and Sarah loved God, and God loved Abraham and Sarah. One day God said to them, "Move from your home. I will give you a new home and a new land. It's okay to go. I will be with you. I will bless you, and you will be a blessing to others." Abraham and Sarah wondered if it would be safe. Would God be with them? Abraham and Sarah went. They trusted the one true God to show them the way. They came to a new land, a land called Shechem. "I will give this land to you. I will be with you." And God was. Then God said to them, "Look at all of this land. I'll give you this land. I'll give it to you and to your children." Abraham and Sarah were so glad that God was with them. They couldn't help but give thanks to God. So they built a special altar out of stone to say thank you to God. Then Abraham and Sarah moved to a new place, a new land where God would also bless them. It was the land of Bethel. And just like at Shechem, God blessed them, and they blessed others. And they built another altar, an altar to say thank you to God, to give God their thanks and praise. Abraham and Sarah were so glad that God was with them. But then there came a great famine in the land. There wasn't enough food for everyone. So Abraham and Sarah set out and moved again. And once again, God went with them. Abraham and Sarah were scared. They were scared that the people in Egypt might forget God and forget the promises of God. But God did not forget them, and Abraham and Sarah were safe. The Egyptians were good to them, and they gave them food and animals. And Abraham and Sarah moved back to the land of Canaan. Abraham and Sarah moved back to the land where they came from. Abraham and Sarah wondered if God would continue to be with them. And then they remembered trusting God as God led them to Shechem, to Bethel, to other parts of Canaan, and on to Egypt, and then back to the land of their home. God said to them, "I will give you many children to live in this land." Abraham and Sarah were so happy that God had been with them, they continued to give their thanks and their praise. They built another altar to God to show how thankful they were for what God had done for them. Now Abraham and Sarah knew that God, who spoke to them and had shown them the way, was in every place that they had been, and that God would continue to be with them, blessing them so that they might bless others. I wonder how Abraham and Sarah felt when they were told by God to move to a new home. I wonder how it felt to leave their home and not know where they were going. I wonder if you've ever gone somewhere and didn't know where you were going. I wonder how Abraham and Sarah felt when they were looking across the desert for a new place to live. I wonder how they felt when God spoke to them in each of these places and they felt the presence of God. I wonder where God is and how you feel God's presence when you go from place to place. I wonder how many places that God can be. Today, as you reflect on the Bible story of Abraham and Sarah, I'd like to invite you to think about what home means to you. I'd like to invite you to click on the link at the end of this story and maybe go back and hear the story of home that Kevin Murray read to us during story time several weeks ago. Maybe you can draw a picture of your home and think about how God has blessed you and how you can be a blessing to others.